Coach, I know it's basically about defense, but is there anything else a factor in some of the low scoring that we've seen in the conference so far?
That's a good question. I think there's a lot of March basketball. I think Coach Self said that the other day after one of their games. When you get to the tournament, this is what it's like. It's hard to get an easy basket. You got to work, you got to grind, you got to manufacture offense in different ways. And certainly everybody that ends up having good seasons, are teams that can defend. This year, all 10 teams in the Big 12, although we played defenses in different ways, everybody's guarding at a high level. So I would think, number one, very good defenses in the Big 12 this year, really good defensive players. Some people have that opinion of the three-point line moving back. I'm not sure on that. I got a lot more important things to figure out than that. But it's a great question. I think it's a great debate. But I would say from my seat where I sit and the work that I do every day and every night, there's some really good defenses and there's some really good individual defensive players in the Big 12 this season.
How tough is it to defend a guy like Halliburton? I mean, you clearly don't want him to get his points, but is it some of the other stuff that he does that maybe makes it even more difficult for you guys?
Yeah, he's a special player. We all kind of identified that last year when he was having a fantastic freshman year, like a 4-to-1 assist to turnover, something sick like that as a freshman. It's very difficult to do, and he's obviously a knockdown shooter. But as do all great players do, he just improved his game. I think I give his coaching staff, Coach Prone, a lot of credit. Guys get better that play at Iowa State, and this is the latest example. But he's a guy that can impact the game in so many ways. One of the best passers in college basketball, one of the best shooters in college basketball, has a length and athleticism, one of the best steal guy defenders in college basketball. So you certainly have to just, try to limit and make things difficult for him. You're definitely not going to stop him. But it'll be a focal point of our defensive game plan to try to do the best job we can on him. He's a super player. We have a lot of respect for him.
On Twitter during the game the other night, I think Carlos said that you sent Shannon to the scorers table, then brought him back. I mean, is he that much closer to maybe making an appearance this weekend against Iowa State?
Where is Carlos?
Riding around on a prop plane somewhere is what I think.
Where is he, Don?
He just asked me to come here and handle it, so I can't answer that question.
Yeah. I don't have that kind of job. I just can't call Kirby and be like, hey, I'm not going to go to that deal today. Can you go for me? I don't quite have that job. Carlos is really good though. He's as good as anybody I've worked with. Yeah, TJ's right there, so we expect him to practice today. I think, in my mind, he really wanted to play and probably could have played in a limited role in Manhattan, but, it's coaching decisions, trying to get him back to 100% or as close as we can. Like I said, those are tough decisions. Sometimes they work out. TJ was really happy after the game, smiling, hugging. We'd won, and he gets another couple of days of rehab. But on the other side of those coaching decisions, sometimes you don't get it right and you got to live with it. So we were fortunate that one worked out for us.
Beyond Halliburton, can you give us a little more personnel breakdown of other key guys for them?
Yeah, to me it always starts with the returners. I'm good with numbers, not names, but some guys that have played in their program in the past, whether it be Young or Jacobson, these guys got championship DNA. I think you got guys on that roster that have won the Big 12 championship, tournament last year, I think in Kansas City, and made deep runs in March the year before. And so the returning players are dynamic. They've got a great front line with 3 forwards that can really play, one of the best shot blockers of the league, and 2 returners, and Jacobson and Young. And then certainly grad transfer from Penn State. Again, I'm good with numbers, not names, but 45. I don't have my glasses. How bad is that, man? I'm wearing reading glasses these days. I don't have to go prescriptions, though. I get the ones right from the, gas station, the readers. Bolton is a good player. He's a dynamic player. I think he's actually leading their team in scoring right now over Halliburton. He's he's fantastic. And this team, like all great teams, has 3 or 4 guards that are interchangeable. So, yeah, great question. It's much more than just Halliburton. It's a real Big 12 team with real Big 12 roster.
What'd you think of the game that Kyler had the other night, and how did he? What enabled him to go off the way he did?
Yeah, Kyler, starting for us a sophomore, played a great role last year as a freshman. I try to encourage him to run his own race. I think he's one of the best sophomores in the Big 12, good college basketball player. I think just a little bit of pressure on him, and, pressure's a privilege, and Kyler doesn't shy away from that. But I just try to get him to kind of relax and see the whole journey here. Works really hard at his shooting. He's a green light guy. I hope other coaches choose not to guard him because, to me, he's a guy that can make 8, 9 in a row. Stat sheet doesn't always show who you are or where you are at this point in the season, but it normally kind of works its way out. But it was great to see the ball go in for Kyler. I thought he took great shots. I thought his great night started with shot selection. Only forced 1 shot, in my opinion. Had one of his better assist night. And so that balance between looking to pass and looking to score always opens up the basket for you. Then on the defensive end, he was dialed in. So, Kyler had a great individual game that night, being our leading scorer, and certainly Mack off the bench. Those 2 guys, in a lot of ways, led us to victory.
And Kirby yesterday addressed the Entombwe situation, so it's in the reconsideration phase now with the NCAA. What have you heard?
Haven't heard anything. That's sometimes kind of the frustrating point of view from the coaches, but respect the NCAA and the job they have to do, and really very thankful that at Texas Tech, our administration, our compliance office, they really fight for the student athlete. That around here. It's like, and we feel that Joel deserves the right to play college basketball this year, and we're doing everything we possibly can through the funnels, through the avenues they let you. So obviously the request was denied, but I think there's a what's called a reconsideration process, not appeal. It's like a reconsideration, and put a lot of work on it on behalf of Joel. So I don't have an update, but I do know the other day a really good player from Tennessee, I guess, went through the same process, and he was declared able to play through that reconsideration process. So we're trying to do the same thing.
And to what extent do you practice him, considering you have a game to get ready for, but maybe tomorrow you find out this guy can play on Saturday?
Yeah, it's been a unique situation, no doubt. Once you know a guy's going to be a redshirt, there's a certain way you go about it, player development, weight room. You don't necessarily, watch your legs today, we play tomorrow, you're not playing tomorrow. And you don't necessarily say, hey, don't lift really hard upper body today because you got to shoot later today. You don't think that development year, redshirt year, you go about it a certain way. Obviously, when you're playing, there's a whole nother way. And, at what point do you let a guy go shoot shots instead of paying attention to the game plan? It's a fine line. But with Joel, we've tried to keep him engaged because we're hopeful that he'll get the good news that he can play college basketball, which in my opinion, my personal opinion, I think he deserves to play, and his reason to transfer was out of his power in a lot of ways. It's just our case. It's what I believe. But back with Joel, we tried to keep him engaged more, probably with this team and this next game and what we're doing today than we maybe do in some other developmental redshirt guys. But it's been a challenge.